Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate y'all coming back and checking out my latest video. Uh, right off the bat, I want to thank all of my new subscribers. I've gotten, about a handful of new subscribers since the last video. We're up to 976. So we're creeping up, getting closer and closer to 1,000. If you're coming and checking out my videos on a regular basis, and according to this YouTube analytics, there's a lot of people that watch the videos pretty regular but don't subscribe. I would ask that you would consider subscribing to the channel. And, at some point, if you decide this, I'm just not touching on things that are helping you with your fishing, or you watching other channels and decided that the other content you're watching is giving you the answers you're looking for when it comes to your fishing, you just aren't enjoying it, I get it. My channel isn't as fancy as some of the others. I don't have all the, drone cameras and the music and all that. And as the channel continues to grow, I'll make changes. But I feel like I offer good, solid information based on my years of experience, which is almost 30 years of bass fishing. I don't try to be something I'm not. I'm not a pro. I don't claim to be. I'm just a guy who's put in a lot of time on the water and have learned things along the way. And I've been, fortunate enough to be around people who are really, really good fishermen that have taught me some things along the way. So that's what I'm trying to relay to you guys. So if you're coming every week and you're watching the video on a regular basis, checking in, I would ask you consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. Trying to get up to 1,000, that's the next plateau. Then we'll go up from there. I'm not trying to looking to get rich off of YouTube. I just wanted a way to have some way to do something else in fishing besides just fish tournaments. I love tournaments, love the competition, and I'll always continue to fish tournaments. But I wanted to do something that I felt like was a way of giving back and helping people catch more fish. So that's what I do. I give up the knowledge, the information I've learned on reading the water, on baits, on techniques, all those different things, in the hopes of helping you guys catch more fish. So with that being said, I want to go into my baits of choice for the month of September. And I'm going to go over them, and I'm going to tell you why I choose these baits. Now, you guys that watch my channel on a regular, what I like to throw. I'm a shallow water fisherman. I like to throw moving baits. I guess you could say I'm a power fisherman. It's just the way I like to fish. It's the way I'm the most confident and most comfortable, and I enjoy it the most. So there's certain baits I lean on a lot. When I do these monthly bait breakdowns, I try to show you different baits. Like if you go back and watch the same video from September of last year, you may see a bait or two that's the same. But I try to give you something different, because although I got certain techniques and certain baits, and my style of fishing is relatively the same, I'm always experimenting with different baits and different things I can do to try to, I guess you say, evolve as a fisherman. And with that being said, I've got a few baits I'm going to talk about today that I rely on a lot in the month of September that may be different than things I've talked about in the past. I love to crank. I've always got 4 cranking setups on the boat. Always. It's just something I love to do, even in the rivers. And it's just something I love to do. It's my favorite way to fish. And I rely on it a lot. So you'll see some crankbait stuff today. You'll see some topwaters. First, let's talk about the month of September itself. Me personally, I don't think it's as bad as the month of August. August is always been a month for me that I've just struggled. And this year, it seems like especially. So I'm looking forward and glad to the fact that September's coming in. We've already had cooler nights. Days are getting shorter. Water temperature's got to be dropping. It's got to be, just because of the cooler nights in the area where I live anyway. As the water gets cooler, you're going to notice the days are shorter, like I said, cooler nights, should be cooler water. The fish are going to start to scatter more. Now, they're not going to bunch up, I don't believe, like they do in October, November, and December when they're feeding on bait so heavy. You're not going to see them bunch up as much, not yet. But you will start to see more wolf packs. I've noticed that over the years in September, even at the beginning of September, you start to see more fish wolf packing. And you'll see groups of 4 or 5 fish, and you can get them fired up, and you might be able to catch a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, It's not like the schools that you see where you can get into them when they're really feeding on bait heavy and you can catch them cast after cast after cast. That's when it's, that's when it's real fun then. So, but you will start seeing the wolf packs and those kind of things. The best thing you can do, and what I try to do in September after August and dragging worms around, and I can't get as many bites, and I just haven't been able to generate as many bites with my moving stuff. I've tried it, and that's probably why I got my butt handed to me the last couple of derbies. I've been trying to get that stuff to work, and I just couldn't. I'm not a big fan of dragging a worm around, but I'll fish a slider head because I got a lot of confidence in that. But now, with the month of September rolling in, I'm going to start covering water. I'm going to start keeping the trolling motor down, and I'm just going to go. And I'm going to fish the best bait of these 4 that I can, depending on the cover, the depth, and the water clarity of what's in front of me. Let's start off with topwater. I've talked about this buzzbait a lot. This is the Booger Man buzzbait. I love these buzzbaits. I have others in my boat, but I probably throw these 75–80% of the time, whether I'm in a river or a lake. And these baits I'm going to talk about apply to both. I had so many requests for guys wanting me to do river videos, so I did almost like a whole series on nothing but river fishing. So all these baits, will work in a river or in a lake, whichever it is you fish most of the time. If I'm in a river, right now, for a while, all I'm throwing is a black buzzbait. This is the Yodo worm that I'm always talking about, that I throw on my buzzbaits and on my bladed jigs, chatterbomb. I just put a black one on. If you ain't got a black blade, just take you a permanent marker and just color it. Now, what I usually do is I color half of it black and leave it chrome, and then sometimes I'll just color it all black. But I'll just cover water. If I'm fishing the river, I'll use the black and blue. If I'm fishing somewhere like Kerr, for right now anyway, there comes a time, I'll go to straight black buzzbait everywhere I go. Usually that's about the end of October and November into December. Kerr, Gaston, any of the other lakes with clear water, I'll go with a baitfish color, shad colored Yodo worm on either a gold colored blade or a chrome colored blade like in this one. I haven't even taken this one out of the package. It's still got the skirt on it. That skirt will come off. I most always use either a Yodo worm as the body on my buzzbait, or sometimes I'll use a small swimming fluke, a small swim bait. And there's a couple of other things I use. Most of the time that Yodo worm is the main thing. And I just go. I put the trolling motor on a pretty high clip, for me anyway, 5, 6, and I just chunk this buzzbait around, especially if I got a lot of shallow cover. Stumps, rock, any kind of brush, riprap, boat docks, lily pads, grass, whatever you got. If you got any kind of shallow water cover, I just put the trolling motor down and I keep going, and I go and I throw this buzzbait. The other top water that I'm going to talk about is, I got two of them here, but they're basically both the same bait. Again, in the river, I'll go with a lot of black. This is just a chrome one that I keep coloring black. I got a couple more. This is the Bass Pro Shops XPS walking bait. I'll either go with the black or I'll go with this bleeding bluegill color. This one's called a ton of fish. You can tell the paint's chewed up on it. But I've talked about this bait before, I'm sure I have. Caught so many fish on this thing. But this is a good bait at Kerr or any lake. Any clear water situation, that's a good walking bait. And this is the black that I'll throw in the river. The other walking bait I love to throw is the Uzuri. This is the Uzuri 3BD series. That's the bone color. Love this. It's so easy, and it's got, it's got one loud knocker in it. And this is the saltwater version of the same thing. And although it's the saltwater version, this is actually the mullet color. I do really well with this color anywhere that there's spotted bass. You got spotted bass in your lake. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's the blue in the prism in the middle or the blue on the back. Can't tell you what it is, but spotted bass, love this color. And I do really, really well in any lake that has spotted bass in it. So it's a buzz bait, walking bait. Buzz bait, I usually throw on a 6/8 to 1 or higher gear ratio reel with 15 to 20 pound Berkley big game. The walking baits, I say a 6 to 3 to 1 gear ratio reel with probably the same 15 to 20, most of the time 20 pound Berkley big game line. Let's talk for a minute about crankbaits. I want to give you one that's a real sleeper. Lots of people throw this bait and not a lot of people talk about it. This is a bait made by 6 Cents, and this is called the Crush 25. Now I want to give you a comparison of what to compare this to size-wise. That's your typical Bandit 100. Everybody knows about a Bandit 100 series. Well, this is the 6 Cents Crush. And you can see it is a little bit smaller bait. It's not as thick, not as long. If you run into any kind of situation, small bait fish, this little 6 Cents 25, Crush 25 square bill. And that's what it is. It's just it's probably close to a Strike King 1.0 or any kind of square bill 1.0 size. You have the 1.0, 1.5, 2.5. This is probably close to a 1.0. And these are the two colors I throw. I throw this one a lot in the river. It's just chartreuse, sexy, it's hard to say. Chartreuse, sexy shad. And this is chrome threadfin shad. These are the only two colors I pretty much throw. I throw this at Kerr. Anywhere I got clear water, I'll throw this a lot in the river. In the fall, this is an awesome little crankbait. Again, this is the 6 Cents Crush 25. And I love these things. And I haven't talked a lot about them. You can buy one with a faint rattle in it, and you can actually buy one that's called the 25 Crush MD. That's a medium diver, and I have a few of those too. But this dives to about 2 to 4 feet. And it's just a bite getter, and it's an awesome little crankbait. It really is, especially in the fall. If somebody told me I had one crankbait, and only one crankbait that I could throw at Bugs Island, it would be this one right here. This is the BX Brat 6 foot model. 5 to 6 foot on 12 pound Berkley big game. I have no idea how many fish I've caught on this thing. But I got a ton of rock at Kerr, Bugs Island, whatever you call it. I like to fish, and I throw this bait on it. And it catches them. It catches spots, it catches largemouth. If there was any smallmouth, it would probably catch them, which people say there's smallmouth at Kerr. So I'm sure there are. I just ain't caught none of them yet. This is an awesome little bait. I love this thing. I never, ever, ever go to Kerr without having it on. For some reason, I haven't had the same success with it at Gaston. or other lakes. But at Kerr, this thing is always on a rod, and a lot of time it's what is in my hand and I'm throwing it. So this is the Berkley BX Brat. I'm sorry, Rapala, however you say it. BX Brat, and this is the 6-foot model. I think this is called Olive Shad or Natural Shad. Another good crankbait. And you can get this in colors that will work well in the river as well. Now I haven't thrown this much in the river. They make a 3-foot model. I throw that in the river. And I got, a couple of different colors that got more pop to them that I'll use in the river. Strike King 3XD. I love this bait. If I'm at any lake, any river, and I see bait fish holding in 10 to 12 foot of water, and I get a good vibe that there got to be bass. They're holding around the bait. You see all the bait in 10 to 12 foot. You notice some bass got to be somewhere in that vicinity as well. This is the bait I tie on. Strike King 3XD. This is just sexy shad. Blue herring is a good color. Always have this tied on when I go to Kerr. Anytime I fish any kind of lake, this bait's always tied on. I haven't used these as much in the river because of the depth that they dive. Maybe it's something I need to try more often. But in September, just covering water, and I'm trying to see what depth the fish are at. If I see a lot of bait holding between 10, 12, 13 foot, this bait is a bait I'm going to throw. Strike King 3XD. Got one more bait for you. I've gotten so much confidence in this thing since I started fishing it in the last year. And that is the Bass Pro Shops XPS Chatterbomb. Not the jackhammer like, so many people like. I went in another video, told you my ideas and everything with the jackhammer. And some guys live and die by it. I get it. They have so much luck with it and so much success with it. More power to them. I got a lot of confidence in this. I like the hook. It's got the original Z-Man blade on it. I like the connection. It's connected just like the Chatterbomb, right straight to the head. There's no split ring or nothing between the blade and the head. I like that. And this hook, it doesn't lose them. Good skirt. Skirt's up there good with a good band. It's not going anywhere. This is just a well-made bait. It really is. When I'm in the river, most of the time, I'm throwing one of these 3 colors. This they call bluegill. I just call it green pumpkin. It does have some blue and purple hue in the skirt. Black and blue. It's a river mainstay, really. And I will throw chartreuse and white with a gold blade. When I'm in a lot of lakes, I will go with, this is called coleslaw, white with a little green and orange. This one has a pearl trailer on it that I like to throw on it. And this is just ivory shad or pearl shad, silver blade. Those are the 5 colors. That's pretty the only 5 colors I throw with the Chatterbomb, any bladed jig. The trailer I use right now that I'm really, really high on is 2 of them. This is from Black Label. This is the CP Crawl. It's just a twin tail, little crawfish that you can flip around, fish on a Texas rig. I like to use those. It's got a slim profile and it fits really, really good. Let's see if I can show you this. On a bladed jig. I'll use those. I got tons of colors to match up with any kind of color scheme I wanna rig up. And the other one is the Yodo worm I talked about. I use that. This works a lot around a lot of wood cover because the twin tail, it's kind of like a rudder effect. It keeps this thing from rolling to the side and getting hung up a lot. You're gonna get hung up with these things anyway. It doesn't matter how you, if you're putting it up against cover and you're beating it up on side of trees and laydowns and whatnot, it's gonna get hung up. It doesn't get hung up quite as much with a twin tail on it. So that's why a lot of times in the river, this is what I'll go with. If I'm fishing more open water and more just like grass and rock and stuff, I will go with this just because of the tail action on this. It's crazy. That's it, guys. For the month of September, this weekend, when I go fishing, Saturday, I'm going to have one of these baits tied on. Probably have all of them tied on. I'm sure I will. They're going to be on the front deck, and I'm going to be putting the trolling motor down. I'm going to be covering water. I'm going to have my, I'm going to look for bait fish at what depth they are. I'm going to look for schooling, fish chasing bait. I'm going to be fishing channel banks. I'm going to be fishing the ends of points, secondary points, the mouths of the creeks. When I think because it probably isn't a big move of bait yet, but the bait that is already there, if you find some in a creek, chances are you're going to start as we go further and further into September, closer to October, you're going to see more and more and more fish begin the packs of bass schools are going to get bigger. You're going to see them feed more on shad, more on bait fish, more on herring, whatever it is in your lake or river. So you're going to want to cover as much water as you can in September. And the big reason for that is because this fish is so scattered, you may go for an hour, 30 minutes, not catch any, and then you may hit just a stretch of a channel bank where you may catch 5 or 6 real fast. And one other thing to keep in mind in September is if that happens, if you hit an area and you really catch several fish pretty quick and they stop biting, do slow down and throw your shaky head or your slider worm or something that you can maybe pick up a couple more fish with. And do not, this is something it's crazy, the things that pop in my head when I'm making these videos. Years ago, I went to a Bassmaster University. They had Larry Nixon there. This was before Ike Anelli ever started, the Bass University he does. This was actually, it may have been called Bassmaster Techniques. I can't remember. Anyway, I went to one, and Dion Hibden, Larry Nixon, Jimmy Houston, there was 4 or 5 of them there. And that was the first time I'd ever heard a pro fisherman talk about getting intimate with an area. And this is something over the years that whenever I have had a place where I have just caught them, and I mean like really caught them well, I always feel like, I think back to what Larry Nixon said. He said, there's a reason why those fish were there the way they were. And he said, you need to take that area and you need to learn where every drop off, every piece of cover, every inch of structure, everything about that area, you need to find and spend time in it and cover the water and learn it like the back of your hand. Because those kinds of areas are hard to find. And when you do find one, it's the kind of area you don't tell everybody about, especially if you're a tournament guy. And there's places at Kerr and Gaston where I've been lucky enough over the years to find places like that. When you want to really, what you really want to do is, just like Larry Nixon said, he called it getting intimate with the area you were fishing. And you literally learn every place in that area and surrounding it that would hold a bass, would hold a school of bass, whether it be a channel bank, whether it be a rock transition where it goes from big boulder sized rock down to real small, like pebble sized rock. And yes, I have seen, especially on lakes, I have seen that more than I have in the river. You want to learn where every single piece of cover, structure, depth change, anything is in that area. Because chances are that area will produce for you over and over and over and over again. So not just in September, that's just something that popped in my head during the course of talking to you guys about this video and these baits. But anytime that happens, remember that area. And the next time you go back, go to that area and fish it again. And mark waypoints of where stumps are. Go when the water's low so you can get a better look at the bottom. Look for any kind of drains that might be running down off the bank into it. Anything, because those kind of areas will always hold fish, always. So anyway, it was just kind of a little rant, but it popped in my head thinking about Larry Nixon, talking about that for so long. I hope this helps you guys catch some more fish. That's always the goal. I appreciate y'all checking back in again. I'm really going to try to get on a schedule, guys, of Wednesday nights. I'm going to have a video up, and one night on the weekend. The weekend video will depend on my schedule and what I got going on. But I'm going to try to really get to the point I'm doing 2 videos every week. And I'm going to make sure one of them's on Wednesday night and the other one's going to either be preferably Saturday night or Sunday night. So that's my goal. I'm really going to work towards that. I really want to try to get the number of subscribers up and keep the channel growing. And can't do it without y'all. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next video. If you got any questions about any of these baits, just send me a question in the comments, and I will be glad to help you out and answer them. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.